What's up, everybody? Welcome to Game Moose episode 141, a palindrome episode. I am one of your hosts, Ryan Turford, alongside the ghost with the most beef, Dylan.
We value mathematics. Well, it's not really exclusively a mathematical concept.
Just so you know, every time we come to an episode that's palindrome with its name, we have to signify that it's a palindrome.
A palindrome is something that's the same way front ways is back ways.
Like race car.
Like the word race car.
This show's just like a race car.
I wonder if it's also a prime number. Prime numbers are also interesting.
Is that what you're Googling right now, is whether 141 is a prime number?
I'm also looking at the show notes, but it couldn't hurt.
Yeah. Well, while you look up whether 141 is a prime number, I want to tell you all, of course, that
it's not. Apparently, it's not a prime number. The next prime number is 151. So strap in.
When we get to 151, it's not only a palindrome, but a prime number.
Yeah.
The show's going to explode at that point.
Yeah, it's Optimus Prime palindrome something.
Anyways, in case you're wondering what you're listening to, this is the Game Moose podcast, where we come to you each and every Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time over on podcast services around the globe like Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, as well as other services. You can also find us at game-moose.com. That's our website for all our cool stuff. Also, if you're watching the video right now, it would be awesome if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the video, share it with your friends, all that good stuff. Mash that bell, as the YouTubers would.
Yeah.
So we're YouTubers now, Drew. That's what we have to say, especially now that we do unboxing videos of like grab boxes and stuff. We have to be YouTubers. Last but not least, of course, if you like us and you're listening to us on the audio feeds and you're listening on a service that gives reviews, leave us a review. Rate this podcast, all that good stuff. It really goes a long way to help us out. So on today's show, we're going to talk about Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah. As brought to us by Walmart Canada.
Yep. I mean, you never know. It's just prophesizing the future, Drew.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen at some point.
They're going to up the number of Horizons for the next sequel. Don't worry.
Yeah. We're also going to talk about cross-play on PS4.
Yeah, that's a thing.
That's a thing. But first, Drew, tell us all about the little party that our friends at Ubisoft threw the other day.
I went to go see Starlink, the Battle for Atlantis. Wait,
The Battle for Atlas.
Atlanta?
It's not Atlantis, the movie, the Disney movie.
The Battle for Hotlanta?
If only. That's not a real thing.
Is Donald Glover in this game?
Donald Glover is not in that game, but he is in Predator 2 for the Sega Genesis. I'm glad you brought that up. I think how this blew your mind. I'm guessing you didn't know that there was a Predator.
No, you're thinking of Danny Glover, not Donald Glover.
They're all the same.
Who is another person who has a similar name but is unrelated.
I also wasn't. I only half paid attention to you.
You heard Glover, and then you're like, the famous Glover actor. Naturally,
Danny Glover. Danny Glover,
star of Gone Fishing with Joe Pesci.
It's very easy to get their names confused.
I both D Glover names.
Anyways, Tell us all about Donald Glover.
So Donald Glover stars in the show Atlanta, has nothing to do with Starlink Battle for Atlas.
So what is Starlink Battle for Atlas?
It's a Toys to Life game. I don't know if you heard about that.
But it's 2018. I heard that all the Toys to Life games are dead.
Yeah, they're not, and this one's still going. So it's cool. It's interesting. I'm gonna have a drink and then explain to you. Ryan Vamp.
So I heard a lot about this game, about how it takes place in space, and you fly planes in space, and you build planes that you fly in space.
That's somewhat true.
That was the best vamping I could do.
Yeah, there is definitely space in this game, but from what I played of it, it's almost entirely on the surface of a planet. I don't know when you go to space and when you go on the planet and how that happens. And when you're on the planet, you're pretty close to the ground. It's not even like Star Fox. Like, it's more like you're flying like a hover car. You're like an inch over the ground.
So kind of like flying the plane in No Man's Sky.
Is that what happens when you're on the ground in No Man's Sky?
Yeah, you can fly, like when you first take off with your ship, you're like pretty close to the ground.
Okay. I've heard people describe this as, in terms of gameplay, as somewhere like a cross between Star Fox and No Man's Sky.
See, that's sweet.
Which is, I feel, is accurate. I don't know. Having not played a lot of No Man's Sky, I can't really say, but it certainly has that vibe. It's like a third person spaceship, like action sort of RPG kind of thing. Because there are numbers coming off of dudes when you shoot them.
Okay.
So that's a thing.
So they're pulling a Destiny.
A little bit, yeah. It looks like it. And then I don't know if you level. I didn't really get a sense of that when I played the demo.
It's probably a hard thing they show off in a demo too.
Yeah, and then attached to your controller is a spaceship. Well, you have like a little harness, depending on whether you're playing this on the Switch, the Xbox, or the PlayStation. And all the demo stations there, by the way, were all Xbox One S's.
Okay.
So we play everything. I think there was one Switch station, but I didn't get a chance to get to it.
That's weird that they did that because the Switch is like the only one that has exclusive content.
Yeah,
as far as I know.
They did have that there, but like I said, they only have one station there, and they did show off the boxes. Like the R Wing was in the box.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. We'll talk about that after. So I played it on the Xbox One S, and yeah, so you have a little harnessy thing that attaches to your controller, and then your ship attaches to that, and then your ship has weapons and stuff that stick to it as well. I guess the first thing is you stick your pilot in, and that will actually determine what your in-game character is.
Oh, okay.
So
what? There's like a chip or something on the pilot, and that's how it knows what pilot you're inserting.
Yeah, they have like a little stand, and they slide into that stand, and then the ship snaps down on top, and then you can actually see your pilot in the cockpit, which is cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so then there's interchangeable ships. The starter pack comes with one ship. And then some other stuff and some weapons. And so then your ship has 2 hard points on it. And from there you can either directly attach weapons, or you can attach things like wings and stuff like that, then have weapon attachment points on them. There are wings, engine boosters, and things like that, armor plates, those sorts of things. And they all do somewhat different things. So like the wings make you more maneuverable. There's like bigger, chunkier ones that give you more like hit points and more defense. Not having them at all makes you very fast, but you can't turn corners as quickly. Okay. That kind of stuff. So there's a whole balancing act to like what you do.
So it sounds like you can totally customize your ship.
Yes, you can.
Even with the starter pack.
With the starter pack, yeah, you can still like, you don't have to use the little sponsons that go on the side of your ship or not. Or it's up to you. And your ship doesn't have to be symmetrical. Though your weapons do have to face the right way. Okay. We did figure that. I was like, what if we put the weapons on backwards? It doesn't recognize them.
Well, wait. So it doesn't just shoot backwards instead?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that, hey, wouldn't that be neat? But no, it doesn't work that way.
Well, you could have like a little turret that could just be firing behind, and then your 2 front cannons can fire forward.
Well, you only have 2 hard points. I've only seen ships with 2 hard points. So you couldn't do something like do 2
like
and 3.
One in the back and one firing backwards and one firing forwards.
Yeah, you can't even do that. It just wouldn't recognize it when you put it in backwards. Even though the points are symmetrical, like the actual like little sort of things that clip on, they look almost like an elongated octagon.
Yeah. Now, I remember from the original announcement at E3 2 years ago, like they basically like the big crux of it, of building the ship, was that you got to put all these different parts. Is that so? Basically, what you're trying to say is that you add the parts on the physical toy and it recognizes them in game. Is that how that works?
Yes, and it is very snappy.
That's awesome.
It's that is probably one of the coolest things is when someone takes off a weapon. Immediately it's gone, and when you put on a new one, boom, it shows up immediately.
Because that's one of the things, like, I wish Lego Dimensions, for example, Toys the Game, Life game I really liked, I wish that did that, something like that, where there were chips that recognized when you made alterations to your Lego characters. Yeah. Like if I gave Batman like Wonder Woman's lasso, I wish in game it would recognize that he's holding a different weapon, for example.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Or that I, customize the Batmobile with different color bricks. So I wish, like, in-game it could be like, oh, you've got a pink Batmobile because you use pink bricks. That's an example. Yeah. So that's actually really cool that there's a deep level of customization with the toys as well as in-game. Yeah.
And by default, the game pauses and takes you to, like, a menu screen when you pull something off or put something on. Okay. But you don't have to do that. You can hot swap it, like, real time. And it goes, like I said, super fast. And then beyond that, the cool thing is the weapons themselves have like combos together in the game. So like there's a rocket that creates like a field, like you shoot the missile and then it creates like a ball that continually does damage. And then if you shoot the flamethrower at it, then it traps the flame inside and becomes like a a fire sphere
That's
does more damage in like an area and kind of sits there. And when you go into certain encounters, it recommends certain weapons to you.
Okay.
So like when I did one encounter where I was like shooting at a base, it was like use that combination, the void rockets and the flamethrower. I'm saying void rocket because they're purple. I don't actually know what they're called. And there's a whole slew of different weapons, and you can buy weapon packs that are just the weapons themselves.
Okay.
You can buy just the pilots. You can buy additional ships. But the starter pack again comes with a ship, hard points, 2 weapons, and a pilot, and the right mount for your controller, because it's different, obviously, because it's there's different connectors and different controllers, and they connect on different
similar
sides.
to other Toys to Life games, like Lego Dimensions and Disney Infinity both had different versions of the same thing. And
as near as I can tell, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions of the game come with the disc inside.
Okay.
I think, just because I couldn't open the packaging and only look at the outside of the packaging. The Switch one does not come with the cart. It's specifically
download only?
It says specifically on it comes with a download code with the starter kit. And the starter kit for the Switch version comes with the R-Wing.
Okay.
And Fox.
Okay. So that's what it comes with instead of the default pack.
That's right. So instead of coming with, like, the Xbox One is this like cool looking ship that's got like rails on the front of it, and the PlayStation 4 one is, I can't even remember.
Oh, so there's different ships, but depending on what version.
Yeah, the different starter packs have different ships.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and again, so the Switch one is the R-Wing, and the same thing. The wings come off of the R-Wing, but you still you can customize it in the same way the other ones do, and you can slap weapons on in different ways, and it comes with 2 different weapons as well, and it comes with Fox, and there's actually like story content in the Switch version that's unique to Star Fox. Which is cool.
I think they said there were like 3 or 4 levels.
Yeah,
that were Star Fox themed.
Yeah, and then it's about like Fox and his crew getting lost in this system where the planet, I believe, is called Atlas.
Yeah, that's cool. That's like a no-brainer idea. Like that's an awesome way to sort of try and revitalize Star Fox, of course. Plus, just having an R-Wing for yourself seems pretty awesome to have. So, I'm way more interested, I think, after hearing your thoughts about this in this game, because like before, I didn't know how excited I would be for a new Toys to Life game, especially because again, it's been so long since we've had a really good one. Again, I think the last good one was really Lego Dimensions, and probably some might argue the only good one. Yeah. Because I mean, we had Skylanders before, and I mean, it was okay. Like if it's good for kids, but I don't know how much an adult would like that game.
The problem with Skylanders is that it was...
Don't say it's Spyro.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a great franchise. Like, it wasn't a franchise that was super well loved.
Yeah.
Especially that kids knew a lot about. Like, it wasn't one of those, like, timeless things. Which is, I think, one of the reasons why Amiibos did so well. Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons they did. And we talked about this.
Well, Amiibos are, like, the only way to get, like, really good... like Nintendo figurines for characters that you like.
And Nintendo did some level of what we think is artificial scarcity. Like, I don't think they'll admit to that, but I think they were smart about it. Like, they didn't flood the market versus I think the Skylanders guys did, and the Disney Infinity guys definitely did, right?
Yeah.
They admitted one of their problems was making way too many.
Yeah. They made like 2 million Hulk figures, and that's what put them out of business.
Yeah. They even said, they even said that their biggest issue was specifically that. And we had a conversation just talking with like Steve Tilley and Marissa Roberto and Camille and like John Orr was there all at the launch party. We're all talking about this, how like this is a big risk. Ubisoft is distributing this themselves.
Yeah.
They're not going with like a big toy distributor. Like they're doing this.
Yeah.
It's
especially
crazy
for a company that hasn't really done toy products other than like their own stuff on their merch store.
Yeah, and their special edition stuff, right?
That's it. But even a lot of their special edition figures are outsourced to other companies. For example, the upcoming Assassin's Creed Odyssey special edition that comes with either a Cassandra or I can't remember the guy's name. It doesn't matter. You choose which figure it comes with. Is like through ThinkGeek. Yeah, and that's why it's an EB Games exclusive, because they package the collector's edition in it with like to the specs Ubisoft puts on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really interested to see how this game does. It's coming out at a weird time though, because isn't it? I think it's October 16th. It's coming out, which I think if memory serves, I think that's the same week as Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see how well this game sells and how well it takes off. Because like you said, it's a big risk, but I mean, I'm excited for it. It sounds great.
It's a different market. It's for a different group of people.
Yeah.
It's definitely for kids. Like you really get a sense that this is a kids game. Like it's very kids friendly.
Right.
Like it's more like, I'd say this sort of appeals to probably like 8 to 12-year-olds.
Okay.
So for that reason, I think they've simplified a lot of the gameplay. I think that's one of the reasons why there's a lot of like that planet bound stuff, because I think that like flying around in free space would get overwhelming for people.
Yeah.
I do know that there's some of those levels in the game. By the way. I just don't know when.
I know, for example, the Star Fox levels, because we've seen a little bit of that on certain channels, and it looks like it's all just free in space.
Yeah. So like I don't know if it's like, that's your free flying stuff is based on like progression or something. I don't know. I didn't have a chance to ask about that. They did talk about a little bit about like the history of the game and where it came from, and it was pretty cool. They talked about like the prototype started off as like a Wiimote with like little bits of copper wire that they would slap onto it.
Nice.
So that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, on the toy side of it, like the actual toys, they look really cool.
Yeah.
They feel really solid, but they're not too heavy. That was one of the things that we noticed is like holding the controller didn't feel too cumbersome. Yeah. Now there's one ship in particular that's really bulky, and we decided to just see what it would like if we tried to put like that ship on with the bulkiest pilot with the bulkiest pieces. Yeah. And at that point, you really did start to notice, okay, yeah, this is a little bit heavier. Because again, it sits on top of your controller, and they're like 8 inches long, basically. Mm. So they're fairly large.
So don't do the flying motion with your hands, or else your figure is going to fall off.
I don't know. That's kind of, no. He's like locked in there. He or she is locked inside the cockpit. Okay. Like everything snaps on, and again, it's very firm. Nice. It's not enough. It feels like things click in, but they don't feel it. There's a little give to them, but it doesn't feel like anything's going to fall off. Right. As long as you do everything right, and especially like the ship itself really locks on there. Like you really gotta really push it down and feel it go click, and then same thing to take it off. And then the harness itself like seems to stay on really well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we really won't know until we have it in your house.
We did everything with it. We pulled everything off and slapped everything on and changed ships mid-game and stuff like that just to see what would happen. And all that stuff felt good. What comes with that is how long will it stand up to that, and how will it stand up to like the abuse of kids? Right. So,
yeah, I mean, it sounds like it sounds like they've thought all that out.
Yeah,
by what you're talking.
I hope so.
I mean, one would assume anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where like in reality and application, it'll be a matter of what the test of time. But it was great fun. I'm gonna do something cool. You guys may remember from the website about a year ago, I wrote an article about people who do custom paint jobs for the Star Wars X-Wing game.
That's like way back in the day. That's so long ago.
Yeah, that was a while ago. So I've reached out to a few of those people, and back from my like old days when I used to paint for Games Workshop, I've talked to a few of my friends, and we're gonna get some of these ships, and we're gonna do some custom paint jobs for them.
That's sweet.
And yeah, I'll do a whole thing about it on the page.
Nice. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it'll be cool. Nice. And so that was it. That was the Starlink Battle for Hotlanta event. I'm sorry, Battle for Atlas event.
Battle for Atlas.
Yes, Battle for Atlas. Yep. I don't know what Atlas is.
I mean, it could be like the star system, or
I'm not sure if it's the star system or the planet or what.
I don't know. It's a place that exists.
There's a grimy lizard man junk dealer.
Zum.
So yeah,
nice. All right. So speaking of Ubisoft, y'all, since this is going up on Monday and we're recording this on Saturday, y'all may have seen a little review go up on our site this morning. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I wrote my review. I bashed my iPad with my finger. I was so excited because I'm dying to talk about this game. So the review embargo's up. I gave it a score. However, you will see in the review, if you've checked it out by the time you're listening to this podcast, that it in fact is a review in progress. Now, there's a specific reason for this that I outlined at the very top of the article, which is that Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a really, really, really big game. Like, really big. Like Witcher 3 big.
That's nuts, dude.
As at the time of recording, I've played Assassin's Creed Odyssey for 22 hours. I'm done 10% of the game.
Wow.
I've explored 8% of the map. So, like, this game is gigantic. So as a result, there just wasn't enough time really from the time we received the game until the time that the review went live for me to give an accurate representation of the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I've played enough of the game to not only add a score to the game at the time of recording this, but also to give you my impressions of how, like, my overall thoughts of the game, with the exception of course, the ending of the game and things like that. So,
okay.
Plus, we can't, because of the way the review embargo works, we can't talk anything about the story. So, if you've read my article, and if you haven't, go to game-reviews.com, of course, and check it out.
Should.
But I don't really touch too much on the story in that review for that reason.
Because they don't want us to, and probably for
and to be fair,
reason.
After playing the game, I understand why they don't want anything to be spoiled about this game.
Fun fact before we continue. Also, you're going to hear a lot more about this because we are going to the launch party for this next week.
Yep, on the 3rd, I believe.
Yeah, it's on Wednesday.
Yeah, so you'll hear all about our expose after the event.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go too deep into Assassin's Creed Odyssey because, again, I want you guys, of course, to go check out my review of the game, which you can go to right now.
Mm-hmm.
But the main touching points I wanted to touch on, first of all, you could definitely tell that this game was developed by not only by the game director of Assassin's Creed Syndicate, but also most of the team from Assassin's Creed Syndicate. So what ended up happening was with Assassin's Creed Origins last year, that game was mostly developed by key members who worked on Assassin's Creed Unity, which was the game not everyone loved. But I loved what they did with Origins, where it made it more of an open world RPG and less of a traditional open world third-person action game, kind of like the original Assassin's Creed games were. This time around, though, it feels like I love the fact, first of all, that there's 2 characters. That I'm played as Cassandra for the purposes of review, but I played the first couple hours as the other character, who, again, his name escapes me off the top of my head. But they both play exactly the same. But I love that there's 2 characters, though, which is something they did in Syndicate as well. Like having but you don't get to choose. You don't get to switch between them on the fly like you did in Syndicate.
You pick one at the outset.
You pick one at the outset, and you sort of define that character's legacy. One of the new things to Assassin's Creed Odyssey that I really loved is the choice system. Because Assassin's Creed has never had a choice system before.
What do you mean choice system?
So
like dialogue choices? Okay.
But the way the dialogue choices and your in-game actions change the consequences of your dialogue choices are very unique to this game, and it's something I haven't really seen in other games that do this. For example, the way stealth missions work in this game, there are stealth missions, but instead of the annoying thing of, oh shit, I'm spotted, I immediately lose the mission, have to start over.
Yeah.
The mission keeps going, but then
thank God, because that's the worst part about stealth missions, right? It's like the instant failure thing.
Yeah, but then if you are spotted during a mission where you're supposed to be stealthy, there are ramifications either on the story, or you have an upcoming battle that you have to deal with in sort of as ramifications for that. Okay. But sometimes it's to your advantage to do that because there's a gear system in Assassin's Creed Odyssey that sort of makes it its return from Origins. And sometimes if you have, let's say you get spotted in a stealth mission and it leads to a further battle, sometimes those enemies carry higher level gear than other enemies. So sometimes it can be advantageous to actually sort of break the system like that. So it's kind of cool.
So sometimes you may want to fight those guys to get the good loot.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So one of the ideas they actually borrowed from another game, another open world game, is what's called the mercenary system, which is similar to the Nemesis system. Only the characters, as far as I have experienced, are not randomized per playthrough, but basically you'll have mercenaries that'll follow you, and basically similar to a game like Grand Theft Auto, you have your character accrues a bounty if you are caught doing things. For example, if you're caught stealing from any of the towns, or if you're caught killing soldiers like in broad daylight, for example, a bounty system will accrue and a price will be put on your head, which will then cause more and more powerful like Nemesis system randomized characters to basically hunt your character down and kill you. And each of these characters, the higher your bounty, the better loot you'll get for killing them.
Huh.
Yeah.
So like just like the Nemesis system, like the more they come back and the more you deal with those guys, the harder they get, but the bigger rewards.
The rewards are, yeah.
Cool.
Which is really, really cool. Like I loved how they sort of incorporated that, especially because we've ever since Shadow of Mordor came out, we haven't seen any other game try to attempt this.
No, and Shadow Mordor did a great job of it. Like it was a cool concept. It was arguably the coolest part about the game.
Yeah.
And then Shadow of War had it, but just I don't know.
They kind of bungled in Shadow of War.
I kind of feel like they didn't execute well enough on. Like they didn't iterate on that thing, which was the coolest part of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas this feels like an iteration where there isn't the hierarchy system that's in Shadow of War or Shadow of Mordor, but it's really cool to sort of because you can go on the offensive against the bounty hunters by learning by basically doing different things in the game. You learn clues about what they're weak to, and then you can hunt them down and then kill them before they get you.
Cool.
Kind of thing. So all that is really, really, really cool. Again, as I mentioned, the map is gigantic. It's sort of split into different areas, and the different areas have different levels associated with them. And similar to Zelda, Breath of the Wild, you can go anywhere in this game. You can climb any surface, just like in Zelda, which, again, thank God. Right. There's an open world game where you can climb on anything and you aren't behind invisible walls or anything like that. But if you go to an area where you are not high enough level for, or if you haven't progressed enough of the story to get to, you will get murdered in 5 seconds.
Okay. No,
like kind of like getting destroyed by silver lionels that start in the spawning area in hard mode of Zelda.
Okay. So I don't know if you can answer this question.
Yeah. Go ahead and ask.
Assassin's Creed is famous not only for its cool historical setting, but like the contrasting future settings, and those have kind of ebbed and flowed in terms of like quality over the years. Like we had, we had like Assassin's Creed 1, which was like that cool twist that it turned out it was all like flashbacks.
Yeah.
And then that people didn't know before the game came out. And then in 2, we advanced the story of Desmond learning about a different ancestor, and then in 3 they killed him off, and Patrice Désilets left the company, and then in 4 they went in a completely different direction, and you were a video game developer, and that was all kind of weird nonsense. And then I didn't play Unity, and I didn't play Syndicate.
It was and Unity were, but they basically took everyone's advice to heart. It was much more muted in those games, especially when you got to Syndicate and even in Origins. In Origins, basically at the end of every major chapter, you would have a section in the future where basically the person in the future in Origins is an archaeologist. And she was basically researching the pyramids. Okay. And people just have access to the Animus in the future. Okay. Where they are in the story in the present day.
Right.
She returns as the present day person in this game.
Interesting.
But, and again, I can't talk too much about this. I can say though, the future, I've seen the present day once.
Okay. And you've been playing it for how many hours?
22 hours.
Wow. All right. So interesting.
Yeah, it is. Again, it's there, but it is not the driving point of the plot.
Okay.
The driving point of the plot is what's going on with your character in Greece.
Okay. And are there any like cool, famous historic Greek characters that you've met that you can talk about?
I can't talk about them, but yes.
Cool.
There are also mythological creatures as well. That's something that they announced a long time ago.
Okay.
You do fight Medusa in this game, for example.
Okay, weird.
And it's really cool. And that's the only one I can talk about.
Interesting.
The other thing that you might actually like, since I know you like Black Flag.
Yeah.
There's a ton of naval stuff in this game.
Awesome.
And it's totally awesome. Cool. Where you get your own ship. You can totally customize it.
Triremes. This was the famous Greek ship, was the trireme.
Yeah. So you're just sailing around Greece. In fact, because most of the map is broken up into islands, or just like there's a couple large land masses, but a lot of it is islands. So you have to sail everywhere unless you want to use fast travel. You can do that as well. But there's something about sailing in this game that it makes me want to do that instead of fast traveling.
Interesting.
And
do you participate in the Battle of Thermopylae as a famous naval
I cannot confirm or deny.
Okay. Do you at any point run a marathon? Sorry, there's so much cool historical stuff, obviously, that they could do with Greece as a setting. As a matter of fact, it's interesting that they haven't done these big ones before. They've been more focused on
because each game like went further and further into the future, but they never went back into the past. So that's what was so refreshing about Origins, and more so even with this game.
Right. Where
this game I think does a much better job of it than Origins does. And Origins I think was a great game. It had a bit of a rocky start, but it didn't blow me away like Syndicate or this game did. This game has totally blown my socks off. As again, if you've read my review, you know I've come away very, very impressed with this game. It is my favorite game in the series.
Nope.
Period.
That's wow.
And to be fair, it's funny because like we talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
Like back when we started Game News, it's so weird to look back on this. 3 years ago, I hated Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, you were not a big Assassin's Creed fan.
And now I can't imagine not wanting to play this game.
All
I can think about right now as we sit there and record this show is I want to go back and play.
Yeah, back then it was like, wow, I really hated 3. 4 has some great things in it, but it's really, I'm having a hard time finishing it. Also, and that was like my last Assassin's Creed.
And for me, 4 didn't really click with me because I don't like pirates.
Yeah. Ryan is distinctly anti-pirate.
Yeah. Whereas you battle pirates in this game and I get to sink their boats and it's great.
Cool.
You get dudes with spears that throw spears from your ship and you blow up pirate ships and it's great. The one cool thing about your boat as well is you can totally customize it. You can recruit lieutenants for your boat. And you know how you recruit lieutenants? Basically the same way you do in Metal Gear Solid 5. You walk up to people and you knock them out and you tell them, go back to my ship.
You Fulton them. You attach a balloon to their leg.
The only thing you don't do is Fulton them. But it basically
that was the fun part about Fultoning.
It works exactly the same way though.
Can you Fulton a sheep?
No. You can't.
Okay.
I wish you could Fulton things, but again,
if you're doing
accuracy, Drew.
So I guess it sounds like it's got a little bit of the light base building, but by way of your ship.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. That's cool. This sounds great.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. So I'm going to play for the first time at the preview of it, at the launch event.
Yeah.
I
think that's going to be a tough.
My whistle.
I think that's going to be a tough game to demo because again, like, it's so big.
It's about the experience. It's not about that slice, right?
Yeah. So I think
and more games are about that, right? Like so.
Mm-hmm. And the last thing I want to touch on real quick before we move on to our next topic is the combat.
Yeah.
The combat in this game is out of this world good. It is so good. Basically, it's the game forces you to take an aggressive approach to your combat. There's no block button in this game, Drew.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's just parrying?
So it's parrying and dodging. So if you perfectly time your parry with your enemy's attack, you'll blow them back and then you can get a couple whacks on them. But they've also taken a cue from games like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, where if you do a perfect dodge, the time slows down and you basically can just get a ton of damage in.
So it isn't like the one button combat back from the old Assassin's Creed.
No,
it was like
you did a perfect literally parry, just waiting for people to strike and you counter them.
Yeah, you do a perfect parry and then you could kill them.
Yeah,
there was just that one button kill, one button kill, one button kill.
Yeah,
and then you lose your rhythm a little bit. So then it was parry, one button kill, one button kill.
Because like when I played Syndicate and Origins, whenever I would play those games, like I would always play them stealthy, but then whenever I'd get caught, I would feel awful because I would be in combat and I'm like, well, this sucks. but in this game, that's not the case at all. It is totally awesome. Cool. And again, you can also tell the director, the game director on this, is also the same game director on Saints Row 2, 3, and 4. And it definitely shows.
That's odd.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm researching the director for reasons that I don't want to talk about.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there you go. Again, you can read my whole write-up. Again, I could just talk about Assassin's Creed Origins or Odyssey for another 20 or 30 minutes. But
cool.
We got other things to talk about, so go read my review. I haven't finalized the score for this, but it'll be in the high 9s. I can assure you when you read it, you already know. You already know the answer to this. So, Drew, let's move on to a game that you've been playing.
Yeah.
We'll review. Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah, Forza Horizon 5. Forza Horizon 4, as it's also known.
Yeah,
AKA to people who aren't Walmart Canada.
Well, Walmart Canada also said Splinter Cell exists.
Yes, they did. No, liars. So I've been playing it. I know that there are a bunch of reviews out there. The review embargo was
up this week.
It was on Tuesday, but like
because you can go play the game now if you buy the Ultimate Edition. It comes out today, and then it's for everyone on Tuesday.
My issue with that is there's a whole progression to this game, and I haven't gotten to experience it all yet.
Yeah.
I've only seen 2 of the 4 seasons. So we were talking about we were waiting for the Switch to fall. We both got both Brock and I when we played it. We got the thing where it was like you've qualified for fall, and then you have to wait for the Switch.
So that's really annoying.
Yeah. So like, and all the seasons are like sunk for everybody. So I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know if it like if you haven't qualified for fall, what happens? I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you stay in summer but don't go like multiplayer?
See, that's my theory, is that it would it probably kicks you offline until you reach the point where everyone else is. Like whatever season everyone else is at.
Yeah, I don't. The short answer is I don't know. That's just my theory.
I don't know.
Now it's telling me that
that'd be an interesting test, because like again, we have a bunch of people who just got the game this week.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how their experience even starts.
Yeah. So now I have to qualify for winter. So I have to get more. I have to get more points.
You got to get those dailies.
I have to get what do they call it? You have to get influence points. You have to accumulate influence.
Yep. Because you're an influencer.
You are an influencer. It's taking that shit a little too far. The fact that they literally like enumerate your influence.
Yeah, I noticed that within like the first 5 minutes of playing.
It's super gross. And you get influenced by running races, and not just, you don't have to win, right? Like you can, I've come in last and still earn influence, but also by doing like stunts and stuff, and then just doing stuff in the open world and doing jumps. And then also there are random billboards that you can find that if you hit them will give you extra influence. And then, you know, there are other things that you can find in the world. Fall is really cool. The world changes. This game is gorgeous. This is probably one of the best looking games I've ever played.
That was my first takeaway when playing the demo, is like, holy shit, this game is amazing in 4K.
It's stunning. And then it's even better. Like summer was good, but fall is even better. Yeah. Just because the weather is more interesting. There's more rain. There's like really beautiful pools of reflective water on the ground. You know, that part of it's really great. I've really enjoyed that so far. I will say this though, my Forza Horizons 5, Forza 4's Horizon, Forza Horizon 4's.
Now we're just confusing you. Yeah. You can just
my Forza Horizon 4's character. He's an insufferable asshole. Count Drifula is a giant piece of shit.
That's the coolest name, by the way.
Yes, it is. So one of the things you can do is when you do like the startups for like the races and stuff like that, you see your game avatar standing there. Mm-hmm. And so my character wears like a shitty t-shirt and like a hoodie and really ugly glasses. And you can decide what he does. You have different sort of like emotes during those different stages, like whether or not if you won, then you have like a special, you can select an emote, and then like what your idle thing is while you're waiting for the race to start when they show your car and stuff like that. So I just made him always doing the two-step. This really obnoxious, he's doing this really stupid dance all the time. Like every single time you see him, he's doing that dance, and he looks terrible. And like I said, his nickname is Count Driftula, and his license plate says sex crime with a 3.
Why the 3?
Because he's an insufferable asshole.
I don't know, man. I didn't know the 3s are the sign that you're an insufferable asshole.
Using numbers as letters, it makes you a bad person.
Okay.
By definition.
Fair.
Yeah.
This seems fair.
Yeah. So, like one of the things you can do is you can find these like these vistas or whatever, like these like historic sites and stuff like that. You can go and it basically does like a little animation and shows your car and your avatar there in whatever, like there's like these ancient Roman ruins is the first one I found, and like they give you a little blurb about what it is, and isn't it beautiful? And then meanwhile there's fucking Count Driftula doing the shitty two-step, looking like just a complete douche.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So when I eventually race your Dravatar and I beat him and he comes in third, he's gonna still do the dance?
He will be doing that horrible two-step, yeah.
Excellent.
So it's that part of it. I don't know. Fall opens up. I mean, at least I'm sort of in like the game now, right?
Yeah.
The summer season, at least as I saw it, was very introductory. It was just very tutorial, just getting your feet wet. And then at a certain point, they just kind of cut you loose. You know, you have homes, which are your garages, which you can purchase with influence.
Yeah, Sean was telling me you can buy houses in this game. And I'm like, why? Why would you want to do that?
You buy houses, and they're essentially your spawn point, and that's where you go back to switch your cars and where you buy new cars and stuff like that. And so the more you have around the world, the easier it is, but it's inconvenient. And especially when you want to, like even you want to have like cars that are geared towards off-road stuff versus on-road. And then even at that, you want to have cars that are tuned towards snow versus mud versus dirt. And so you end up trying to make a car that basically can do everything. Like a few people I've talked to is just like, well, I just get a Subaru and trick it out so that it can do all of that stuff. So I have to constantly change my car depending on what the event is. Because at least some events will say like, you can only use a certain class of vehicle, which is, how fast it is, or like how heavy it is, or its general body type. But, you can still try to run a Lamborghini in a dirt race and it'll do terrible, right? Because that's not what Lamborghinis are designed to do.
Right.
So at least if it's making you change the class of your vehicle, it'll give you a chance to change right there on the spot. But otherwise, you could accidentally start a road race in like the town with your Volkswagen like dune buggy. Which I accidentally did a couple
You never
times.
know that maybe that's the vehicle of choice.
Yeah. And you can change your vehicles anywhere on the fly. You just have to be outside of the thing. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good game. I want to see more of it. My understanding is that winter's going to change things a lot. So I'm waiting for that.
Yeah. One would assume winter does because it's probably way harder to drive.
And
then there are probably certain events that are open.
Yeah, there are only certain like driving on the lake. There's a whole big feature that's the lake, and driving on the lake opens up when you hit winter. And then spring too. Like there's new things in spring where again, instead of dirt, it's mud, and there's a lot more mud in springtime than there is. Okay. So the driving dynamics on the off-road and the cross-country stuff are different. Still just tearing up this poor town. Just destroying people. Just
knocking
things.
Over all those bricks on the fences.
You get points for knocking down trees and shit. It's called landscaper.
But that's what you did in Carmageddon.
Yeah, you get points for this. At least there's nobody. There are no humans on the road, which is weird.
Thankfully,
it's a weird game in that sort of sense. They're again, I talked about this last time. The whole notion of
who would want the Horizon Festival in the town ever?
It's interesting that it's an open world race game. And what's interesting about it is all the other games that aren't Horizon treat that as though it's an illegal thing, and police are always an aspect of it. There's always that risk reward of the police will get involved.
There's
right?
the disclaimer at the front, hey, don't drive like this, or the police will actually arrest you.
Whereas in this game, the people the narrative is the people want you there. Yeah. Right? People are excited that you're there destroying their town and driving dangerously, and I could just it seems absurd, the notion that I took my dune buggy up to the top of a mountain, drove it down the mountain, and it rolled end over end over end until it crashed into the side of someone's house.
Clearly, they wanted you to landscape their house.
Yeah, and I could just imagine the people, the elderly couple that live in this little English cottage getting out and seeing a dune buggy crash through a wall of their home going, "Woo, Horizon's Festival! Yeah, so happy you're here." It's weird, man. It's really weird. I will say this, to Brock's point, he mentioned this before. It is a little boring at times.
Yeah,
it's beautiful, but God, what I would want to give for a little bit more something. It just feels super dull. There isn't a huge variety of terrain type. It's just basically rolling green hills and rivers and a couple occasion mountains and then a small town, and that's about it. Right. Nice. You could have easily especially to take advantage of the whole idea of the weather and stuff like that. And the seasons, it would be really cool to do this something in on the border of Colorado and Arizona, where you have the mountains and the desert, and you have
but they've already done that in a game. That was Forza Horizon 2.
What area was that?
What, or was it the original Horizon? I think it was actually, I think it was the original Horizon. It took place in Colorado and Arizona. Like that. They've done this before.
So all I'm saying is a variety of landscape would benefit from leveraging this whole concept of seasons more, right?
It also is tough too, because it's tough to get excited about the UK. I think we talked about it last week, because it's cool, but the UK is such a similar environment to the environment we live in that it's tough. I think it's tough for us to get excited about it. Yeah. Whereas Australia, for example, that's an exotic locale for us. It's somewhere where we don't go very often.
Yeah.
So it's a totally different environment than what we're used to.
Yeah. But even at that, like, you can still get away with doing a variety of geography in most places. You can pick a place that has like a bunch of like a combination of like flat hills and mountain.
Oh, so kind of like Japan, Brock's original proposal for this game.
Japan would have been really great. I mean, one of the things I want to see is like a really busy city as well as part of it. It doesn't have to be the whole thing, but just,
sitting in, I can just imagine you driving in the Horizon festivals in town. You're just sitting in traffic, like trying to drive downtown Toronto, for example.
Yeah, San Francisco.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, for that reason, but I get why, because they want to have it be more open and stuff like that. But still, there are times where it feels a little boring. Like there's an abandoned train yard, and that's kind of fun. It's got ramps and stuff. And I haven't explored the whole world yet. And there's some weird stuff where like it gave me a big purple circle with a question mark in it, and I don't know what to do there. I don't know. So I haven't finished the game. I don't have a full sense of what the game is yet, so that's why there's no score or anything for it.
Okay.
I'm having fun. So take that.
That's good, because you sound like you're a little bit higher than what you were last week, where I know both like Brock more so than you, but you guys are both a little bit down about that.
Well,
game.
it's certainly
especially after Horizon 3, which is just a very similar game.
It has a slow start. You kind of have to be patient in summer.
Yes.
Summer is the most boring so far of what I've experienced of the 2 seasons. Summer is the most boring that I've seen, and just in terms of it's not really that dynamic or interesting. Yeah. But even at that, it's very slow to introduce like the various race types and stuff. One of the coolest things I did in fall, there's like a showcase series. It was called like the Behemoth Showcase.
Okay.
And you race a giant hovercraft.
Nice.
It's just you and a giant transportation hovercraft. Like these hovercraft that they use like in certain parts of the world where like ferry people, like ferry cars and stuff. So it's one of these great big like hovercrafts. So you're racing around down mountains, and then there comes the hovercraft, and it goes in and out. It kind of feels like that old like Sonic Adventure level with the whale.
Oh yeah, where you're running down the pier.
Yeah.
So on that point, I was watching friend of the show stream Sean Capri.
Yes, Capri's been streaming this game a lot.
Yeah. And on his stream, not only did I see him race a train.
Yes.
In the middle of winter.
Yes.
But then I also saw him do the Halo event.
Okay.
Where you basically race a pelican.
Okay.
And you're in the Warthog.
That's cool.
And it's got the Halo music and stuff.
That sounds really neat. The Warthog is definitely in the game.
Yeah.
I can buy it from the auto show.
Well, it was also in Horizon 3 as well.
Yeah.
I think it was like a pre-order bonus for that game.
Yeah.
Or you could buy it in the shop.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That sounds awesome. I can't wait to play the game on Tuesday, because I'll have it as part of Game Pass, because I have Game Pass.
Yeah.
I think this just makes Game Pass, at least for this month, a no-brainer for people.
Oh yeah.
Like you get Horizon, like probably the best driving game this year for free.
Yeah.
Or I would say with your subscription.
And at some point you'll get the new Halo game
and some other stuff.
Yeah.
Although I don't know how much I'm going to play it, because Mega Man 11 also comes out the same day. But I will definitely play it and report back for next week's show. Because again, then you'll have the perspective of someone who started from the beginning.
Yeah.
After this, like in the middle of whatever season they'll be next week. I guess it'll be winter next week in the game. So, all right, next up. So this week, we're going to touch on this a little bit. Sony announced, oddly enough, crossplay. The thing that they say would never come to PS4.
Yeah.
Coming to PS4. Starting with Fortnite.
Yeah.
And coming to other games. It's up to the developers if they want to implement it, of course.
So, hey, kids, you did it. You're bitching and moaning.
Yeah.
Including ours, because we were complaining about this too.
Well, yeah, I think everyone was. Because it seems like such a natural thing. I think there was an article today interviewing some of the, like one of the engineers at Sony.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how much of a process it was to get crossplay to work. Because apparently there's a lot of back end stuff they had to do, because the PSN, of course, was developed in like 2004 and was not
for the PSP.
And it was not very forward thinking.
Yeah.
Like they put a lot. Like the whole reason there's no name changes, for example, is because there's a whole bunch of other data in the back end that they can't change without breaking the whole system.
Yeah.
So I think there was more to it than that. Mm-hmm. But even so, it's cool to see that it's actually here with Fortnite. I mean, a lot of people were sort of predicting that there would be this announcement, because we got not one, not two, but 3 Fortnite console bundles, one for every fucking console. Like Switch has one, Xbox One has one, and PS4 all this fall. But I'm interested to see though what this means for other games. So, are there games besides Destiny you would love to play with other people, Drew, on other consoles, or is it just all Destiny all the time for you?
I don't think they could do Destiny because of the exclusive content.
Yeah, that's true. They probably couldn't.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Same with Call of Duty, probably. Then I'm guessing.
Yeah, which is I can only imagine this is going to be a minority of games.
Oh, I guess because doesn't Fortnite have exclusive content? Because I know, for example, there's like on PlayStation specifically, there is PS Plus specific in-game items that you can only get through PS Plus, and I don't know if those are on other consoles.
Are those cosmetics though?
Yeah, they're cosmetics.
So like that's not going to make a difference.
Oh, okay.
In Destiny, there's
right.
literally strikes and weapons that you can't get in the
you're right.
in the other versions of the game.
I forgot about that.
So I don't know how they could make that work, or if they would want to, or if Sony would want them to, given that they have some kind of exclusivity partnership there. So.
Or it could just mean eventually, like when Destiny 3 inevitably comes out, then maybe that'll be a thing. Like cross-platform play might be a thing.
Maybe, but again, I think that will be dependent on what the status of Activision's deal with Sony is.
That's true.
Right? So I don't know. I think this will. I think the thing that really changed minds here was that they talked to Epic, and Epic was like, "Hey guys, we as Epic would make a fuck ton more money if all of these people were linked together, and so would you because you make a piece of what we sell. So like, come on, let's make more money together."
Yeah.
That's sort of. I think that's the benefit of this having a game this big.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. This is weird. It's altogether very, very strange that finally they've done this about face.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be good for everybody. I think the games that are going to benefit the most are like things like Elder Scrolls Online and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If those companies decide to take, specifically like MMOs and games like that, games with big.
Hopefully, this finally means we can finally have Final Fantasy 14 on Xbox.
Sure. I don't know.
That's been a point of contention for because the whole reason why it never came to Xbox originally was because they couldn't do because they didn't want to do crossplay.
Right.
So
yeah.
If only
maybe
because that game only works with crossplay. Same with Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
Another game that only works if there's crossplay. And it kind of doesn't work the way it is now, where it's very siloed.
Yeah.
So I really hope it comes to that game.
Yeah.
For example, great. And I mean, we know of course Rocket League's probably the next game that's going to announce that they have it. Because I mean,
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same sort of thing. Like that's another game that's like quote unquote hat sales based, right?
Yeah. Plus, they already announced a long time ago. They already basically have it working. They just need to flip on the Switch, as well as some other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really interested to see what this means for even not so much this console generation, but the next one.
Yeah. And
then like how that's going to work with that. Like, are we going to? I wonder if we're going to get like crossplay from the get go.
Yeah.
Between all these consoles and how it sort of affects things. Because at that point, then it almost doesn't matter what console you buy your games on, other than you buy whatever one you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what controller do you like, pretty much?
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
And for a long time, for me, it's been the Xbox One controller. I've always preferred the Xbox controller.
But does your Xbox One controller have a corgi on it?
No.
Mine does.
Oh.
Well, my PS4 controller does.
I see. So that's why you prefer it, because of the corgi.
Yeah.
Is it Ein?
No, it's the dog from Valkyria Chronicles 4.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. He's a good boy.
All right. Yeah. All
right. Next up, we talked a lot about the Telltale closure last week.
Yeah, we did.
And we did get some more details about it this week.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
It's really fucking ugly.
Yeah.
Things are real bad. So we had a sense that like people like it was very sudden, and now we know that it was super sudden. You mentioned that like people had been hired like the week before.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nobody got severance.
Nope.
And now they're coming out and saying that work conditions were pretty garbage. A lot of people are saying that like there was like 50 to 70 hour weeks were standard. And then there was crunch on top of that. Right. Like people were working like crazy hours,
they just didn't leave.
Doing like 18-hour days every day. And then when crunch came, they were working even harder, even longer, which I think is reflective of the quality of what their product was at a certain point. You could tell these people were exhausted.
Yeah.
There were lots of bugs in their games. The quality of the writing had gone down. that's just going to happen when your people are that tired. And everybody has said, like, it really felt like they just overextended themselves, like way too far.
Yeah, they had way too many properties. Again, we still had like 3 more properties from them, plus the Netflix series.
Yeah.
Because again, we had Walking Dead final season, Wolf 2, Stranger Things, and then whatever the Lionsgate thing was, and then the Minecraft Netflix series. Those were all the projects that were in the works at Telltale for 250 people.
Yeah.
Well, that's including like executives and anyone running the company.
Yeah.
So
working in the company. Like just logistical support of various kinds of things, like human resources and stuff like that too. So in terms of like boots on the ground, people,
it wasn't that many.
It wasn't as many as you'd think. And it sounds like they're spread out way too thin. And all these people, we mentioned, they don't have jobs, they don't have an income, they have zero severance, so all of a sudden their money just gone. They also don't have any kind of health care because their health care just ended.
Yeah, it's expired, I think, by the time we're recording this.
Yeah. So a lot of people way worse off now because they were let go by Telltale, which is really shitty. But like, it opens up the broader question of like, what is it like to work in the games industry? And we just sort of hear time and time again that it's kind of garbage.
Because I think I was reading an article this week, I can't remember what site it was from, but there's been 10 studio closures this year. And this was also the same week that Capcom Vancouver also shut down.
Yes.
For not completely different reasons.
Yeah.
But similar reasons.
Yeah.
The really crazy is it really makes you wonder what these people go through all the time. Because I mean, we've heard stories for years about working conditions at a lot of these places, and they don't sound great.
It sounds like labor exploitation is the name of the game. It's just the idea is get as much productivity out of people, regardless, without sort of a care for what their personal lives are or what their health is or whatever. It's just push and push and push and push. And so it goes all the way back to like the very famous EA spouse letter. Do you remember that?
Oh God.
So that was like forever ago. It was like someone who worked for an EA company. Their wife wrote a letter, like a public letter, and released it to the public. Just said like, I don't get to see my partner ever. Like they're completely stressed out. They work crazy hours. They don't get to spend any time with their kids. They're burned out when they do have free time. Like like this is horrible, right? Like how people in the games industry are treated. It doesn't look like things have improved much.
No.
It seems like one of the popular things that companies do is they play what I like to call the shell game with companies, right? Where like companies get to a point where like people reach a certain level of sort of like seniority and the minute stuff sort of goes sideways a little bit, they just shut them down. Like even studios that have like an incredible legacy of like making amazing games, as soon as they make one or two missteps, they just close them. And the reality is that those people all end up back in the business somewhere. I shouldn't say all of them, but a lot of them do.
A lot of them do.
Right? So it's just like you just keep moving around from studio to studio. So you as an employee have a lot of financial and labor insecurity.
It very much seems to me like it's contract work, almost like if you work at if you're a construction worker, for example, and you're working at a construction site. Once the building's built, that you've been hired to build, that's it. You got to find another building to work on. Yeah, kind of thing.
Which is kind of crazy. Which is why in construction there are a lot of unions. Right. So to give you some kind of like labor and financial security and reliability. And I said it last week and I'll say it again. I think the games industry needs unions. I know that people inside the industry don't necessarily feel that way. And I know that people are really nervous that they don't want to get screwed over because it feels like there's lots of people who are really passionate about being in the games industry and everyone feels like there's always someone waiting in the doorway to take your job. Right. And that scares a lot of people. And I get that. Mm-hmm. I totally understand that. Yeah. But at a certain point, you guys got to realize that not all of you are in this position, this advantageous position. Not everybody can go like, oh, well, like I can move in with my sister or with my parents or with,
especially because most of these companies are in like San Francisco, for example. I mean, your family might not live there.
No,
you might not have another place you could go.
But even at that,
rent is so high there.
But even at that, like, there are people that have things to fall back on, but there are some people that don't. And for them, the video game industry isn't an option. That's crazy. Like if you don't have some kind of like parachute, if you don't have something to like fall back on, then the games industry isn't an option for you. So you imagine like if you were someone who was dirt poor, who came from like nothing and really like worked hard, got a bunch of scholarships, went to a school, and then went straight into a games industry job, and then all of a sudden the studio shut down, and you were still paying off like what few sort of student loans you had. Like you're fucked. You've got nothing. You can't move. Like I said, you can't move back in with your parents or your aunt or your uncle or someone who will take you in. You may not have a spouse that can help like bridge the gap. If it was just you, if you were just like 24, you know, and the studio just shut down and you have these like, that's it. You like, you have to, you rush out to get a job at Chipotle the next day.
You probably have like an apartment lease and stuff you have to pay for too. Like there's a lot of stuff you have to pay for.
Yeah. And like they're basically the games industry punishes people who are in a financially precarious position. If you just aren't lucky enough to have some other way to like help you out, if a studio suddenly shuts down, then you are fucked. And so that means that you just can't get in that business, which sucks. The film industry can be a little bit like that too. Though granted, they have unions that help protect you a little bit. Yeah. Right. So,
I mean, I think that's probably pretty similar for like any like really popular job.
What I call them,
that's not unionized.
Yeah. Like passion industries. Right. So like, but even at that, a lot of them end up going that way. The union is there to protect the employees. Right. It helps give you that security that otherwise you wouldn't have. Right. So, granted, it doesn't always work out that way, and it's why people are a little gun shy about unions, because sometimes they go too far the other way, and I totally understand that. But it really seems like the games industry needs something to protect them at this stage. Yeah. So, yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say about that. All
right, well, let's close it out with a lighter topic, although this is the topic that makes me want to burn the internet to the ground.
Bowsette?
What's going on with Bowser?
Boozette?
We got this photo here. We're holding that up to the camera. We're like, this is the face of justice.
This is what's happening on the internet.
Why?
Now.
Why is this a thing?
Well, it turns out that in some video game, Toadette can get a thing called an item called the Super Crown.
The game being New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe.
Right. So the Super Crown will turn Toadette into Princess Peach.
Or a princess.
Or a princess. Toadette, right? Yeah. Princessette. So everyone was like, well, what would happen if this crown went on a different character, like Bowser, for example? And then they were like, Bowser turned into like a sexy lady. And then somebody also translated that into King Boo.
Yep.
So
you got Booette.
The Booette, who's like a sexy lady Boo.
Although, wouldn't it more be like... wouldn't you want to phrase it being like Princess Boo and not Booette? Because it's not like Boo is turning into Toadette.
Yeah, look, the logic of this whole thing is very confusing. Even the people who are generating this fan art are like, I don't know what to call these people.
Well, they're the people you see on DeviantArt.
Yes, yeah. So, and the interesting thing is there already is like this weird sort of like niche fetish about the idea of like some kind of magic thing changing
things and stuff.
Some kind of magic pill, like changing people's gender.
Yeah.
So like, there's already like this fetish about this. So this is just like, lets people then apply that to their weird Nintendo character fetish. I don't know why people are like sexualizing these non-sexual characters, and it gives them a chance to even do it even more, because like again, like Bowsette and Boozette, both very buxom ladies wearing very low cut clothing. Yeah. I really like that. Like people have already cosplayed as like Boozette and Bowsette, and like Boozette people, they do this pose that because he's got his tongue hanging out
because it's a boo.
It's weird as fuck, man. The internet is a weird place.
The crazy thing about this story, is that, and I was reading this last night. Apparently, there was an art book that was just released in Japan this week, officially by Nintendo. It's an official Nintendo product of the art of Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah,
and it turns out in the art book, Bowser had his version of Cappy, and he threw it on Princess Peach, and then Princess Peach turned into Bowserette. Like in the concept, there was concept art for Mario Odyssey where this was apparently supposed to be a thing that happened in the game.
Interesting. So Bowser like inhabited Peach's body in a way.
Yeah, and then like basically the copied Peach was basically Peach with it was like Bowserette, but with like dark red hair like Bowser has.
Okay.
In like Princess Peach's outfit with the horns and everything.
Huh.
It was like eerily similar to what people are like fan shipping essentially.
Huh.
Yeah. It's really weird.
Yeah, it's strange. You can see why Nintendo dropped it.
Yeah. Apparently it was supposed to be a key story thing in the game. It happened. It's really weird.
Alrighty. Okay.
So there we go.
Yeah.
That's our show for this week, ladies and gentlemen.
Indeed it is.
So before we go, Drew, plugs go.
I'm at D McMill on Twitter. And go to game-moose.com for Ryan's review of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And when my review of Forza is ready, it'll be there too. And I'm writing a thing about Destiny Forsaken still. Mm-hmm. We'll see when that hits.
Yep. My Sky review will be up on Tuesday, so tomorrow. Cool. And again, I played a lot of that too. So.
Yeah, cool. And look, we'll talk about that next week. And go to the site for coverage of the Odyssey launch event, because we'll be there at Ubisoft Toronto.
Yeah. Hashtag get hyped.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for that event.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Sweet. So you can find me on Twitter at Ryan Turford. That's TURFORD.
Mm-hmm.
You can find the Brock McLaughlin at Brock McLaughlin on Twitter.
Yeah.
You can find BrockstarGaming.com for reviews of things and stuff.
That's a website, yeah.
Of course, our website, game-moose.com. Check that out. You can find us on Twitter at game_moose_cast.
Yeah.
On Facebook at facebook.com/game-moose podcast. And you can find us on podcast services across the world. And you can, live your life, walk a dog, eat Sbarro.
Sbarro. You really like Sbarro, huh?
I mean, someone has to.
Actually, I like Sbarro. I like the pizza really there. Like it's like Detroit-style pizza.
It's okay. I mean, how good of a mall Italian restaurant are you really?
I mean, you get some dough, you put some fucking sauce and some cheese on it, and some cured meats, and you cook it. Like, you can't fuck that up.
It's a thing.
You can't fuck that up.
Anyways, for Drew McMillan, I'm Ryan Turford. I can't even fucking end the show right now that I'm thinking about Sbarro.
Yeah. This has been Delicious Sbarro.
This has been Delicious Sbarro, episode 141. And we're out.